let's get started here. Oh man, technical difficulties. All right, are we good? How's it sound over there?
Sounds good.
Are we live?
We are now.
We are live. All right, welcome everybody to Hacker Dojo Lightning Talks. Hi, hey, you recorded me. Hello everybody, cool. Wearing my new shirt from Pacific Hackers. Thank you. Catch my good side. All right, cool. All right, everybody, real quick. Welcome to Hacker Dojo. If you are a guest for the first time, make sure to get yourself a little name badge up at the front desk. All right. What was it? Huh? Okay. Hacker Dojo is a nonprofit community of engineers, artists, scientists, activists, entrepreneurs, and other creative people centered around a co-working social facility. That's this place right here. I'm watching you, YouTube. Come join us here at Hacker Dojo. It is a nonprofit organization, so we do actually rely on membership sign up. So if you guys want to become a member at Hacker Dojo, head on over to hackerdojo.org. And there's more hypes available, right? There's 2 desks?
Almost done. So 2 left.
2 left. 2 desks available. I'm watching you, YouTube. All right, we got 2 desks available. If you guys want your dedicated space here at Hacker Dojo, talk to Emily or Tiana. All right, I do have, this is actually from the website. You got current members at Hacker Dojo. You got, how do you say it? Coffee? Hyper, Picao, Inventive AI, Iris Agent, Project Red. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other companies out here or members out here. And if you are a member, please let Emily know. Please let Tiana know. We want to get you guys' names on the website. All right? You guys want to be cool? Like all these other people here? All right. Volunteers needed. We are, again, a non-profit organization, so we do need a lot of volunteers to help out run these events that we have going on all week long, almost pretty much every single day. So if you are interested in volunteering, reach out. Discord? Discord's okay. Yeah, there's a volunteer channel in Discord, so you guys can reach out there. Or in person, if you guys are here, you can reach out to Eric. Where's Eric at? Eric! He's at the desk. So if you guys want to volunteer, you can talk to Eric in the back. All right. Donations. Oh, yes, perfect. I brought it today. There is a donation list. I'm going to go through this list really quick to let you guys know what we need. A computer for the podcast room, stage, a video camera. As you can see, that's the camera we're using right now, the webcam. A nice looking door stops. Anybody have some extra door stops that are really nice looking? That'd be really nice. Cubicle, divider walls, 2 tables, monitor with HDMI input, spotlights for classroom plus the main stage. So we want to try to get some spotlights up there because currently we're using this one. It's not the best, but that's what we have. All right, let's see what else. Vertical rack for lumbar and laser cutter room. Scale for filament, 0 kilograms to 2 kilograms. Dehumidifier box. Silicone soldering mats. Vending machines. Oh, vending machines. Yes, get some energy drinks in there, please. Whoa, feedback. Coat rack. Yes, because I have to wear my coat. I wish I could take it off, but there's no coat rack here. So if you have a coat rack, please donate that. Phone booth. Phone booth?
Like the telephone.
Okay.
Privacy booth.
Or a privacy booth. There we go. I was like, phone booth? Okay. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. Indoor plants and outdoor plants, all right? So if you guys got some spare plants hanging out at your house, or if you guys just have a garden and you guys just want to share some of your plants, just bring them over. We need some plants. We need some life here. If you guys want to donate directly to Venmo to Hacker Dojo via Venmo, there's a QR code. You guys can scan that and donate. Or if you have some spare change in your pocket, there's a little tip jar in the back for some grub. All right, Hacker Dojo links. The meetup website, YouTube, Twitch, Slack, Discord, and Twitter. All the links are there. If you guys want to join Discord, here's a QR code. I made sure it's nice and big so you guys can scan it right now. Same thing with you guys on YouTube because a lot of people asking me, hey, I missed the Discord link. I can't see the Discord link. Can you share that real quick? No, now you guys can scan that. You guys can scan that right now, okay, and join. A lot of stuff going on in there. Group photo. I always keep forgetting this. So please remind me to take a group photo at the end of Lightning Talks. Yeah. And number 1 rule. All right, number 1 rule. I always like to ask the audience, what is the number 1 rule? So it is...
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other. There you go. All right, so Lightning Talks. We are changing the Lightning Talks a little bit. Now, I've been trying to change things around a bit. As you can see, we have Mark up here. I'm going to try a fireside chat and get you guys feedback and see how that goes. We're also doing themed Lightning Talks, and the first event that we're having today is going to be Python only talks. So we're going to see how it goes and get you guys' feedback if you guys like that, or if you guys want to just go back to open mic, just general lightning talks. We'll try that out. But think about it. We have Python coming up today. Then we have AI. We have robotics. And a lot of other events. So think about that. If we do focused theme talks. All right. With that said, I think that is it. Ignore that. All right. Let's go ahead and close that. Cool. All right. I got Mark up here with me. Mark, hello. Welcome. He's my fireside chat guy here. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
All right, Mark. So you literally just walked in. So I said, hey, you want to be my guest on a fireside chat? He's like, yeah, sure. Cool. So what brought you in here, Mark?
Let's see. Well, I've been to some of these lightning talks before. It's amazing all the different types of topics and devices people bring in. So it's great. What brought me here for today in particular is I was reading the Mountain View Voice. Does anyone here read the Mountain View Voice? Oh, we got a couple. We got a couple.
All right, cool.
They have an online version. So, and I was reading a story about accessibility for the restaurants. How a lot of the restaurants in Mountain View are getting sued because during COVID they put out a bunch of tables so they kept outdoor dining. They put them out really fast. They just put some of the cheapest things out, and it didn't comply with ADA, American Disabilities Act. So that there are law firms that essentially will they'll essentially send out suits against pretty much everybody, like all the restaurants. Well, they'll go around and just double check, measure, is that off or is that?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the restaurants are getting sued and they didn't really have time to prepare. And so, okay, that's not really Hacker Dojo stuff per se, although of course we all should be concerned about accessibility. The story also mentioned that there was going to be a new bill that would create more liability for websites and web developers. So that obviously got my attention. I have a part-time business doing web development. I've spent a lot of my time. Sometimes it's been very full-time doing web development. So I was very curious about this. Mm-hmm. And when I started looking at it, so I looked up the bill. I read a little bit about it. And there are a number of stories saying tsunami of website lawsuits coming. And so there are several of these, mostly by law firms or people associated with law firms. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't so sure. There's been very little, in fact, there's been pretty much nothing in the mainstream media about this I've seen, aside from the Mountain View Voice story.
Let's pause right there. Have you guys heard anything about this? No. There's literally no's going around the stage, this classroom, the audience. What? Yeah. No, there's a bunch of no's. There's a bunch of no's on the main stage. Yeah, interesting.
So one reason this moved relatively quickly was it's called Assembly Bill 1757, and that bill was introduced on a completely different topic earlier this year. I guess there's a legislative technique where you can totally gut out an existing bill and replace it with contents of a completely different bill, even though it keeps the same number. So this happened. In fact, I came to the game late. I was reading these stories a couple of days ago, and they said that this went to the Senate on July the 7th. I'm sorry, the California Senate Judiciary Committee on July 11th, and it passed the committee. I believe it was 9 votes to 0, or 9 votes to 1. It's passed the Assembly Committee. At some point in time, presumably it's going to the full legislature for approval. It would take effect on January 1st, 2024, as written. Mm-hmm. Some of the salient parts of this is, in addition to people who have websites being liable for damages for violating the accessibility standards, and by the way, as soon as you violate them, according to the bill, you're liable after the law passes. So it's not like you get a warning, you get to fix it. No, you're liable as soon as you have violated those standards, according to the bill. And so I looked more into this, and there are other provisions. The language has been evolving, but like some of the earlier provisions were $40,000 per web visit, statutory damages, and it got down to $4,000. Now, I think in the last couple of days, maybe they've taken that out of the bill, I'm not sure, but a key part of this is web developers will also be liable. And so I guess it's partly our own fault if we create a site that doesn't meet these standards. However, the standards that they're specifying are WCAG 2.1 AA standards. And there's like, if you look at the W3C site, these are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of pages that you literally have to go through to make sure your site complies. And I myself have done compliance to 1.0 on university site. It took us hundreds of hours to do that. But we did do it. But that was like 1.0. This is 2.1, and it's a significantly higher standard. I haven't done compliance to that. We wouldn't be able to do compliance on that university site. We have too much custom software. We've either had to get rid of the software, or we chose not to comply with 2.1. We didn't need to. We just had to comply with 1. So it's an equity thing. I mean, you want people to have access, and preferably as equal access to the websites as possible. On the other hand, there is the high cost of compliance. And like I said, being hit with a liability where you don't know it. Another problem is websites I work on, whether you like it or not, they're WordPress. And so I do custom coding and PHP and things like that, back-end database work on some of these sites. And I can make sure what I deliver to the client is WCAG compliant. As long as we don't have weird interactive software and stuff, usually it's doable. But the thing is, if the client then uploads content, images, for instance, that don't have a proper alternative text, is the developer liable for that? The bill doesn't say, so conceivably we could be liable, or maybe the organization's liable. So I'm not taking a position on the bill. Actually, I'm hoping to talk to people about it. I sent an email to Electronic Frontier Foundation. I haven't heard from them. I'm not even sure who you would even talk to about this sort of thing. Meanwhile, this thing's been progressing through the legislature. I feel like a lot of our communities, especially web development, we haven't been part of the conversation, and maybe we should be.
Yeah, okay, Mark. So my question to you is why, it's kind of blunt to say, but why should Hacker Dojo and its members care?
Well, can I show you some slides?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the reason why I said it. All right, cool. Here you go. I'll take that.
Okay. This comes out here, I presume. Okay, thank you for your patience. This will take a minute. Just going to move over to the side. Yeah, there it is. Good. There should be a keystroke to do this, but we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, is this going to be a web earthquake or much ado about nothing?
Microphone.
Okay. So is this going to be a web earthquake or is it going to be much ado about nothing? Can I do this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So like I said, it's AB 1757, and it required these websites apply to this standard, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So essentially, it requires the websites become compliant to this standard by January 1st if it passes, and it looks like it's projected to pass the legislature. Liability for website owners, that should be obvious, but it's liability to web developers. Now, there's previous law in the state that says this may not just apply to any old organization or enterprise. It's those that have a physical presence that's open that serves the public or sells services, possibly co-working could be one of those. So there's alarming headlines. I'm saying these aren't in the New York Times or anything. These are mostly law firm sites, a few lobbying sites. So let's talk about the guidelines. So it's WCAG guidelines 2.1. They hold you to the AA standard. AA means level of kind of like testing, like the level of contrast you'd have to have, that sort of thing. There's A, AA, and AAA. And this law will extend essentially the accessibility requirements to not just like desktop computers, but a wide variety of devices. So these are some of the earlier requirements for accessibility for a lot of sites. You're probably, hopefully you're already doing some of these on your own website, maybe hopefully all of them. For instance, using sufficiently high contrast, using alternative text, creating accessible PDFs, all that can be challenging. Structure your page as well. Some of these are just good web practices. But the WCAG 2.1 extends us to a whole bunch of other things. And I admit I've not read all these rules. I don't know them. I'm not even sure what some of these things exactly mean. I can guess. I don't know for sure. But you can just see the variety of things. And does your web work do all these things? If it doesn't, you'll have to make some changes, apparently. Now, the good news is there are test tools for noncompliance. There's Google has a Chrome extension that's called the Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool, and that supposedly tests at 2.1. Some of the tests are up to AA standards. Some people claim it's a little bit buggy and outdated. And I've not tested on mobile devices, just on desktop websites. And I have an example of one. This is the Hacker Dojo homepage. You can click on there for details, but 69 errors on that one. So is a Hacker Dojo, would you be liable? And like I said, as soon as someone clicks on it and sees these errors, under the law, you would be liable.
So these 69 errors, and it just takes one of these to have a fine.
Apparently.
Wow.
So I mean, probably a lot of these are fixable, but the thing is, if like something breaks or if some library else stops working, all of a sudden you might have accessibility errors. I guess that's one of the challenges. And I don't mean to just pick on Hacker Dojo. I mean, these guys have a much bigger budget, right? And this is just the first page I looked at on Amazon of some product page. I wouldn't even go around. There's probably others with fewer and others with a lot more errors. Yeah. Okay. This is passed by the Senate committee on July 11th. It looks like it's going to be law. In theory, this could result in tremendous liability for web developers and website owners. Yet I'm hearing almost nothing about it, so maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know. I don't even know who to talk to hardly about this. People I began talking to, organizations like Electronic Frontier Foundation. Anyone hear from there? I'm not getting responses from them. So I don't know whether it's going to be an earthquake or not. But at least now you know about it, and hopefully this is going to get the conversation going. That's it.
Hi, Mark. Thank you. So with that said, wow, Mark, listen to that. Thank you. Thank you for presenting. So with that said, now that you guys know AB 1757, hopefully you guys can look a little further into that and talk to Mark. Mark, are you going to be hanging out?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to chat with him, he will be available to chat. But yeah, we're going to continue on with the Python Lightning Talks. All right? No. All right, so with that said, let's move on over to Python-only Lightning Talks. This is our themed event that we have going on. I can't see that board. Command line tools in Python. Peter, come on up, Peter. All right.
All right, give me a moment.
Yeah, sure. Python. Actually, can you give us an introduction of what Python is? Before I won't ding you for that. But please educate me, please. I've never tinkered with Python. Yeah.
There we go.
What, you want to move it over?
Yeah. Okay, looks good. You can see it? Great. Okay, I'm Peter Theobald. I'm an SRE, a site reliability engineer with Akamai. I'm going to be talking about writing command line tools in Python and two different ways to get the arguments of those commands. So it's very, very technical, kind of small picture talk. First, at John's request, I'll talk a little bit about Python. Python is one of my favorite programming languages to use. It's very easy to learn. It's very easy to use. It's very quick to get things done. It's Perhaps one of the better languages to be your first one to learn, because it is so easy to get tools online. There's a site called Grape. Do you know the extension for Grape? Somebody here know? One of our Hacker Dojo people has Grape.
Codes.
What is it?
Codes.
Codes. Thank you. Grape.codes. If you go to grape.codes, you can start programming in Python without installing any software at all. You just have it on the screen. You have a interactive mode where you can type things, see the results, write small programs, big programs. So very easy to get into. As you get more into Python, as you learn more about it, you find that it has an incredibly rich ecosystem of libraries and toolkits for data science, for artificial intelligence, for games, for networking, for just about anything you might want to do. Python has libraries to make that easy for you. So that's the good side. The downside is it is such an informal language, such a dynamic language, that it may be more difficult for very large teams to work on programs where they're all working simultaneously on the same thing and staying in sync with each other, because it does have less hand-holding and less what I like to call straitjackets in the code that keeps all the different parts working together. Great for quick things that you want to get into quickly, maybe a little more difficult in very large scales. It's also not one of the fastest languages. So if your important consideration is the programmer's time, it's great because it's very fast to write things. If your consideration is the runtime, then it's not a particularly fast language and perhaps not the best choice for that. I will, on a future one, I will give a talk on how to make Python faster, so that's something that will help. But any questions about Python in general before I move on? No? Okay, great. All right, so what I'm going to talk about today is using Python and two tools called argparse and GUI to write command line tools. So Python is great for writing little tools and utilities for yourself. I like to automate anything. Anything I do more than once, I want to automate it and not have to do it manually again and again. So Python is great for this. And I write these tools, and in a terminal or a command window, I can just call the name of my tool and have it do things for me. And what I'm going to show you here is how to interact with these little tools that you build in a really easy way. Okay, so when you write a command line tool in Python, how do you get the argument that you put on the command line? And here's a really simple example. So the program name, I called it test.py, and it simply looks at something called argv. Argv is a list of the arguments on the command line. And you see this prints number 0 and number 1. And when I call it test.py hello world, number 0 is the name of the program itself, test.py, and number 1 is the first word on the command line. So very easy to access those arguments that you're passing into your program. And here's an example of an actual program I wrote. It is a program that converts proprietary security camera video footage, called DAV files, into standard MP4 video files. So convert DAV, my video, and you see it's processing, it's writing the output. And the way in the program, the way that gets this argument of what is the name of the file to work on, very simple. File name equals argv1. What is that first word on the command line? Really easy. However, what if we add a lot of different options to our program? So here, my program has options like, I want it interlaced, I want to use a different codec, I want to use high quality, I want to change the name of the output file. All of these different things, if you imagine trying to go through that list of words, if these can all be specified in a different order, you have ones that are standalone, you have ones that kind of use the word next to it. So this would be pretty difficult to program just by looking through that list. Luckily, there's this library, argparse, that makes it really easy for us. So I hope this is big enough for everyone to see. Using argparse is really simple. You just import the library, and then you add a list of the different arguments that you want your program to understand. So we have here, we want the file name, and that's a very simple argument. It's just the name of the file. Then we have a true or false. Is it interlaced? We have one called codec, and we can list, if the person doesn't specify it, we have a default, and we also have what are the valid choices. Then we have another argument that's true or false. Is it high quality? And then another argument, what is the output? This first one here that doesn't have dashes is required. They have to give us the name of the file. This last one with the double dashes is optional. If the person doesn't specify it, it'll just be set to none. And then you can see here at the end, I just print the value of all these things that get passed in. Now let's see what happens when we call it. So when we call the program, convert DAV, my video, we give it the file name. Everything else is basically the default or false. So we only specified the file name here, myvideo.dav. So that's the file name. Interlace is false, the codec is the default, high quality is false, the output is none. Now we specify it with all the options. Interlaced, we pick a different codec, MOV, we pick high quality, and we change the output. And you can see here, all those different arguments we gave it are captured by the program. Okay, we'll have to go fast. Here's an example of giving it a codec that is not one of the valid options, and it gives us an error message. And here, built in, we do -- help, and it uses what we've told us to give us a help page. All this is built in. You don't need to do any programming to get this. Now, what if we want a graphical interface to this same program? Anybody here who has used TK Inter or WX Windows or any of the graphical libraries knows it's a lot of work to program graphics. You have to lay out all the buttons, and you have to lay out how things relate to each other on the screen. It's a tremendous amount of work. However, using a library called GUI, we can simply create a graphical interface, and here's how it works. Very slight changes from what we just wrote before to do command line. We just import GUI, and we change from argparse to the GUI parser, and that's pretty much it. Everything else stays exactly the same. And without any other coding, you run the program, and this pops up. All made for you with hardly any effort. So that is the way to very easily do both command line and graphical input for the little tools that you build.
All right, thank you, Peter. Questions?
Any questions?
Any questions? No questions? Peter, you're too technical, I guess.
Yeah, I got pretty technical. But.
Oh. Hold on. Thank you.
So for in the GUI options, when you specify like the 3 different codecs, does it create a drop-down menu, or is it something that you specify?
This one right here is a drop-down that has only those 3 choices in it.
Okay.
And there are lots of other options I didn't have time to get into, where you can make this pretty, and you could tell which things should be together on the screen, and also which things are mutually exclusive. If you select this one, you can't select that one. Tons and tons of other options. But this is just the basics of how easy it is.
Thanks.
So to get that GUI to pop up, you need a third type to show you, like for instance, there's like X11, things like that.
No, if your system has graphics, Mac and Windows always has graphics. Linux, I'm sure you have X11 installed if you're using a graphical interface. So it just works. It used to be years ago you had to call a different version of Python, but now it all just works.
Okay, thanks.
All right, one more. Here we go.
You just install this with a pip install this?
Pip install GUI, that's it. Yep.
Perfect. All right, Peter, with that said, how can they reach you if they want some more information?
I'll be hanging out here all night. Just come and reach me. Otherwise, I am on the Hacker Dojo Discord and on the Slack, so just find me there.
Right.
On the Discord, go to the Python channel and ask questions there. I keep an eye on that channel.
Perfect, thank you. Are you also hosting classes?
Yes. Wednesday nights, we have a Python class where each Wednesday night we take the questions from the people in the audience, the thing that they're dying to learn, the thing that's been troubling them, or the thing that they're trying to figure out in Python, and we cover them in depth. So it's all free. Come on down Wednesday nights, join us, and learn some Python.
Hybrid, IRL, how are you doing it? Is it in person only, or are you also doing it?
We are doing both in person and over the internet. So you can join the Discord and you can join the class online, or you can come in person. I like people to come in person, but feel free to do either.
Perfecto. Thank you. All right. All right, I know it was short notice trying to get this themed event going on. Themed event going on for Python only. We only have a couple speakers. So if there was some late walk-ups and you guys want to talk Python, make sure you write your name on the board. All right, next we have Rebecca. Hey, sorry. Stay in the box. Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. All right, let me. AI for offensive image detection?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. AI for offensive image detection.
Yes, that's correct. So I'm connecting it. Just want to make sure that.
This is your first time talking here, right?
Yeah, it's my first time.
So before you get started, do me a favor, just introduce yourself and your background, your experience here, just so we know who you are.
Okay.
Stranger.
Okay, so I'm Rebecca Gonzalez. I'm a data scientist at a Spanish company, a consultancy company. I'm visiting here in the United States for 3 months, but I'm based in Sevilla, Spain. Yeah, and today I will be talking about my experience in a project related to image processing and computer vision. And later on, at the end, I would like to talk about how you can get into computer vision as well. So just want to make sure I have everything.
Give it a second.
Okay, perfect.
Should connect.
So yeah, if you also have questions about Spain, you can for sure ask me as well. Can you hear me well?
Oh, you want to move it up?
Okay.
You're too tall.
Hold
Hold on. There you go. Move it up.
Yeah.
¿Sí?
Yeah.
Más cerca.
That's okay. Okay, thank you.
And the screen's not showing here.
Yeah, it's not.
Try unplug it, plug it back.
You have to function, and one of the functions has a little picture of screens on it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I have seen it before. Okay, let's just now. We might be running on some technical issues. So I have these
It's connected.
display boards. USB
Python. But the new one.
display. Just
Try this.
Windows, plain Windows.
And then
Windows
also
are
try
Mac. Who's that?
this.
Sometimes the
Oh,
HDMI
here,
socket
duplicado.
duplicate.
might have to bend
Yeah.
the wire a little bit.
Maybe instead of this one, yeah.
Do you have that? Oh, that's better.
This stays loading.
Again, duplicado.
Yeah, we can go to the next one.
Let's get the next one. Let's get Anthony up real quick while we get this technical difficulties figured out. Anthony, ageless AI. Do you need your computer? You need to connect?
Yeah.
You can send me a presentation now.
Yeah, we can do that too. Yeah, I do that.
Anthony's already set up, ready to go. All right. Same to you, Anthony. Do me a favor. Just it's first time talking here at Lightning Talks, yeah? All right. So Python only, and I'm sure you have a Python project you want to talk about. So with that said, we'll go back on who you are, what you do, I guess, and where you came from.
Sure, for
What's up, man?
It's actually all woven into my presentation.
Oh, perfecto. Ageless.
Is this like the... Oh, there we go. Okay. Give me a second. Well, I don't know. How's everyone doing today?
Doing
Good. All right. I'm probably just going to walk around a little bit. Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Moose. So, show of hands, who used to hang around in the Hacker Dojo pre-COVID in the other space? Okay, I do see some familiar faces. Some of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with Biology. Biology and I would run quantum and AI talks at that space, and I remember in our first talk, we had over like 100 people show up in a space like this. There was no seats, so people really had to stand all along the sides. It was really cool, and we just kept that running along every Friday night. And we even had a phenomenal conference right before COVID hit in like February 2020, right, Biology, and that was a spectacular conference. So hopefully we could, use the space very well. I love Hacker Dojo folks. I love being part of the community and want to be involved more. So a bit about myself, I'm the founder of Ageless AI. Since we only have 5 minutes, I'm going to be doing a deeper dive next week on what we're really doing. I do have some cool computer vision demos to show you today, and our backend is completely in Python, so if you want to work with us, we have a really cool internship experience. A lot of people end up on Wall Street and Silicon Valley. We have a person who ended up working for Neuralink. In my previous parts of my career, I was identified as a Python guru. I wish I had known this was a specifically Python talk tonight, so I wish I could show you some cool codes. I don't get to code much these days, but still love hacking when I can.
That's you?
Someone left me a LinkedIn review. And yeah, we'll show of hands. So we use Stack Overflow. I'm sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right, everybody.
Anyone in the top 10%? Well, maybe you took a look at some of my Docker questions and answers. I'm not sure. 230,000 people looked at that. Love Python. Love Python. Peter, I completely agree with everything you said. Just one thing to add on, in terms of performance, absolutely agree with you. I would say in almost like 90% of computing cases go with Python. Yes, it may not deliver as much speed, but right now with cloud and computing costs dirt cheap, you're gonna, you're not gonna see a negligible difference these days. Just don't, use Python for self-driving cars. So, I'm a hacker. Again, folks in the previous Hacker Dojo space, if you're familiar, there's that free Wi-Fi thing, right? So, I think it was like only 1 hour, 2 hour limit, so I did some network engineering hacks and extend my session times. Not sure if I get in trouble, but I did get in trouble with the director at one point, but whatever, I started finding out. Started hacking since I was age of 15, didn't really know what I was doing. Who knows what network packet sniffing is? Cool. So I was doing that for fun when I was like 14, 15, didn't really know what I was doing. It was just really cool to collect and steal data. I'm a builder, love building. I spend most of my time building teams, building companies, building cool tech, pretty much in every industry, supply chain, fintech, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, industrial agriculture. If you want to talk about that stuff, find me afterwards. I'm an investor. I was an early investor in Bitcoin. I got a really cool AI that tells you when to buy and sell. So if you want to know how and why I got into NVIDIA last year at $120 and quadrupled my investment in 7 months, also come over and talk to me. I do have an angel investment in a affordable rapid genetics testing company, Visionaries. All right, so what is my little remaining talk about Ageless AI? I won't do a deep dive, but at a high level, we're really tackling brain disorders with artificial intelligence, leveraging computer vision and machine learning. We believe that you're only going to get to artificial intelligence once we've unlocked the mysteries of the brain. And if you go over to Stanford, especially in the psychology department, AI started in building in 420 in the psychology department back in like the late 70s, early 80s. It's all because people are understanding their own networks and mapping out the brain and understanding that. So, I see this as like a full circle. AI is going to help understand brain diseases more. Once we understand the brain more, we're going to understand AI more, and that's going to feed into artificial general intelligence and longevity. I plan on living to 1,000 years old. So I can't go through all of this right now. But next week I can do a deeper dive on some of our products and technology. But I'm going to do a demo on the thing on the top over there, which is the eye-opening enclosure, which is leveraging Python and OpenCV. No seconds, little. So this is Umair Hanif, which is one of our Stanford AI researchers, and he's going to do a demo analysis on eye closures and blinking frequency rates. I'm going to click play. Hopefully the audio is working, but you could still get the gist of it. Let me refresh. There's going to be some technical difficulty.
You can see the number of blinks here.
All right, so it looks like the audio is not connected. I hope this doesn't destroy the speakers if I put the mic near the... Oh, should I try again?
Should be okay, just hold it there.
Okay.
Blinks here, it counts every time I blink, and then every 5 seconds, it also estimates the blinking frequency to the right. You can see that. And also, like, if I keep my eyes closed now, so it's closed and then open. So I just take, like, within that 5 second interval, the number of blinks and just divide it by those, like, 5 seconds. So if I try to not blink at all now, then it goes to 0, as you can see. And it's blinks per second, the unit of, like, the measurement unit that I chose.
Okay. What happens if you blink really fast? It works.
That's so See, 1.8 blinks per second.
Well done.
That was a little demo during one of our team sessions and stuff. There's some Python code. Okay. So yeah, I think that's about us. And why are we interested in the eyes? Well, it's the only organs directly connected to our brain. So there's a lot of data to collect. And we'll talk more and more data and AI.